Imagine a lush, tropical island surrounded by thousands of miles of empty ocean, an isolated blank slate for a brand new society. When the first people wash ashore, their priorities are strictly biological. They require basic things to survive, like fresh drinking water and foraged berries. We call these things needs. But once survival is secured, human nature kicks in. The inhabitants quickly desire things to increase their standard of living, perhaps a sprawling mansion or high-end clothing. These are wants. Here is where they hit a wall. Human wants are infinite and constantly expanding. You will always want a better house or a faster boat. But the raw materials on the island and the hours of daylight to harvest them are strictly finite. This tension creates scarcity. Scarcity occurs because there are simply insufficient resources to provide for everyone's infinite material wants. Because of scarcity, the islanders are forced to make choices about how to allocate what little they have. Economics is the scientific study of how those choices are made. Whether you are deciding what to eat for lunch or a government is deciding how to spend $10 billion, every choice is a direct reaction to the unavoidable reality that we cannot have everything. Let's say an islander has exactly 10 hours of daylight. They can spend that time building a protective wooden hut, or they can spend it catching fish. They cannot do both at the same time. If they choose to build the hut, they sacrifice the fish they could have caught. That lost fish is the opportunity cost, the specific value of the next best alternative that is given up when a choice is made. This production possibility frontier, or PPF, maps the maximum combinations of huts and fish the islander can produce. Points exactly on the curve represent perfect efficiency. Points inside indicate underutilized resources. Points outside are mathematically unattainable without better technology. Without discovering new resources or inventing better tools to shift the entire curve outward, getting more of one thing demands giving up another. There are no free lunches, only trade-offs. Fast forward 50 years. Our single survivor is now part of a sprawling, chaotic island city. Managing conflicting desires of thousands requires complex systems. To produce any good or service in this growing economy, you need 4 specific ingredients, known as the factors of production. First is land, which includes all natural resources like the trees and the ocean. Second is labor, the physical human effort required to extract and use those resources. Third is capital, meaning the tools, machinery, and funding used to produce goods. And fourth is enterprise, the entrepreneur who takes the risk to organize the other 3. These factors work across 3 sectors. Catching fish is the primary sector, dealing with raw nature. Canning that fish in a factory using machinery is the secondary, or manufacturing sector. Finally, selling the canned fish at a local market is the tertiary, or retail sector. When we study the price of that single can of fish and the specific companies making it, we are looking at microeconomics. When we zoom out to measure the total employment and economic growth of the entire island, we are looking at macroeconomics. By tracking these 4 building blocks in 3 sectors, we can measure the overall health of the society, predicting whether it has the capacity to support its population's growing needs. Now that the island is a fully populated nation, a critical question emerges. Who gets to decide how these scarce resources are distributed? One approach is a traditional economy. Here, economic roles are inherited, and allocation is based strictly on historical customs and mutual support. Production focuses on agricultural survival and barter, completely ignoring the pursuit of profit. A second path is a command economy. In this system, there is no private ownership. A centralized government controls all resources, deciding exactly what gets produced and who receives it, prioritizing strict equality of distribution over efficiency and consumer choice. A third option is the free market economy. Driven by the forces of supply and demand, decentralized individuals and private businesses make independent decisions. The motive to make a profit drives innovation and efficient resource allocation, with minimal interference from the state. Finally, most modern nations use a mixed economy. This combines private enterprise with strategic government intervention. The state regulates markets and provides essential public goods, like healthcare through the National Health Service, or NHS, that private markets might underfund, balancing efficiency with social welfare. An economic system dictates the individual freedom, equality, and daily reality of every person living within its borders. Eventually, the island nation hits a physical limit. They want to build stronger boats, but they lack a crucial component: paint. To get it, they have to trade timber with a neighboring island. This reliance on external partners introduces globalization. The factors of production become deeply interdependent across the world. If the neighboring island experiences a sudden shortage of paint, the boat factories on our original island will immediately suffer. From a single castaway foraging for berries to an interconnected global trade network, the narrative remains consistent. Because of scarcity, we are forced to make choices, and every choice carries an unavoidable opportunity cost. Economics maps exactly how we organize, trade, and sacrifice to navigate a world that simply cannot give us everything we want.